How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper. I'm on this channel to teach you how to read the rewards of trading with the prices going up or down. Three Arrows Capital co-founder Su Zhu arrested in Singapore. Su Zhu was apprehended at Shanghai airport whilst attempting to travel out of Singapore following a committal order by the Singapore courts against him, read the company's statement. Mr. Zhu will be held in prison to serve the sentence for only 4 months, the firm added, and as co-founder Kyle Davies has yet to be found to serve his 4 months. So not really a big sentence there. Penal said it filed and obtained its committal order against Zhu on Monday after the founder refused to follow a court order compelling him to account for his activities as 3AC's founder and investment manager. Stablecoins aren't securities, says Circle and SEC lawsuits against Binance. So, way down here for the good information. Alleging Binance offered investors unregistered securities, America's financial watchdog highlighted Binance USD, BUSD, as an example of securities that were being offered by Binance. As Circle notes in its filing, the SEC's enforcement action against Binance has represented the first time the regulator has claimed stablecoins are a security in court, and potential implications for Binance and Binance USD could have outsized the legal and practical stakes, Circle wrote in its brief. Payment stablecoins on their own do not have the essential features of an investment contract, Circle said, referencing the agency's four-pronged approach for determining whether an offering warrants a SEC oversight or not. They also said, according to the SEC, a core element of its approach for gauging whether something is a security is a reasonable expectation of profits. Because stablecoins are redeemable at a constant value, Circle argues that stablecoins on their own don't meet that standard. SEC launches proceedings to determine fate of spot Bitcoin ETFs, invites public comment. We want you to accept them yet, dummies. The US SEC submitted several filings on September 28th that concern pending spot Bitcoin exchange-traded funds. The SEC seeks comments on various matters through the latest filings. The first section largely asks commenters for their views on whether the proposed spot Bitcoin ETFs are valuable to or are capable of preventing fraud and manipulation. In another section, the SEC asks commenters whether they believe certain aspects of Bitcoin, like the amount of capital required for significant participation on each trading platform, make the market inherently resistant to market manipulation, or not. The SEC also asks commenters whether they agree that surveillance sharing agreements with Coinbase would help detect, investigate, and prevent fraud, or would it be better to have a CME, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, representation of regulated markets of significant size compared to a spot Bitcoin? So they want to know, and people think there can be manipulation in these markets, they want to know if Coinbase or the CME spot applications would be better to approve, or neither. And they could just disagree, deny all these ETFs, but there'd be nothing stopping them from reapplying, at which point the courts and Congress might start to say, hey, you need to give them a real reason for denying them, kind of like Grayscale. Over on the Dixie for the daily, we did touch our support. We didn't get any strong move off of it. We're really not going anywhere. Our stochastic's falling, RSI is overall falling. We have a double red dot on our momentum, so that wants to bring our RSI momentum down. VWAP's breaking bearish. Our money flow is managing to get bullish momentum still, but it's kind of bouncing into some support or resistance here around that 17.5 zone. So if we don't break through the 17.5 and it still acts as our resistance, we likely will see price action start to fade away from here, but we're going to have to wait till Monday to see what happens. I'm not going to go lower since no one ever asked. We do have a push toward our resistance at our total. We did get rejected by resistance. However, we did push through our Fibonacci zone. We tried to break through it, but we managed to hold. So we did at least confirm somewhat of a trend up so far. Stochastic is trying to push up. RSI is kind of trending out. Momentum is pushing up. This is a bit of a dangerous spot. We could form a bearish divergence as prices trying to make higher points, but our stochastic's not really going higher, and neither is our momentum, so we could make bearish divergences, so just be warned and watch for that. Our VWAP is starting to roll away. Money flow wants to push toward that neutral and go bullish, but it's kind of starting to taper out. So if you want, watch this lower time frame, see how they're going. If they show bearish signs, then we likely will pull away from here. Over on our Bitcoin dominance, we are sliding, we're touching our support. Bring that back up right around here. So we are touching our flag support, a little crooked, but we are attempting to break down. If we push lower, we could see lower price action. We have a manipulation X, we have bearish momentum that wants to break to the downside. VWAP is falling to the bearish side, stochastics rolling over, and our RSI is pointing down very aggressively. So we do have pretty decent probabilities to break through the support level. However, if we bounce here and continue forward, we could see the market push higher. Over on our futures, we are starting a red candle, so just watch out if this becomes some sort of a double top. That could push us lower. We could also have some sort of like flagging or something going on here. Let's see. From there, lets me connect the line, and then we could draw from right in here. So that could be a bit of a flag pattern. We could have a couple of freak breakouts, but this could overall be our main flag. If that is the case, that could push us down and push us away from this support level. Nothing wants to work with me tonight. And we could see about 22K. That would start us down for that 20K gap that we still have yet to fill. That's right here from back here. So do keep that in mind. Over on Bitcoin, we pretty much locked ourselves within this pattern we drew yesterday. We got rejected by our point control. Stochastic wants to run up, our RSI is starting to point down, and the stochastic is starting to bend. So I would keep an eye on the lower time frames. If the stochastic starts to weaken, we could see this drop out here. Our VWAP is starting to round away. Momentum is pushing decent, but with the VWAP kind of weakening, that momentum is likely to do the same. Money flow isn't really going anywhere, even though we tried to get a bullish push and a bit of a rounding bottom here. We do have a potential for this still to make some sort of goofy cup and handle possibly, as we have this round here, and we could make a handle. If we do that, then we could break toward this higher area, probably right around this higher volume node at 28K, at which point, if we hold that zone, we could push toward our previous zones. However, if we stay within this pattern, that's where we're likely to see our 20K. Over on the 4 hour, we are kind of rounding away, smacking resistance. Stochastic's falling away, momentum's coming down with a red dot as our VWAP has fallen into the bearish territory. Our money flow is picking up bearish strength. We have a double red dot here on our momentum, so overall, we have more bearish signs than any kind of bullish, and we could likely see a bit of a sell-off from here, if we're not careful. On the 2 hour, we were trying to make somewhat of a bull flag, but it looks like that's going to fail. RSI is starting to push out, stochastic is pretty beat down, momentum is falling, and our VWAP is kind of flattening out under that neutral, so if our VWAP curls under here, we're likely going to get another push to the downside. At which point we could push pretty decent and push down toward this previous flag within our flag. Or within our triangle, it was a flag. Momentum has a bearish divergence that wanted to bring us down. It didn't bring us down too bad, it did break support though. Money flows overall rounding out, stochastic's losing strength, and our VWAP's testing that neutral. If our VWAP breaks bearish and gets a new low, we could see a bearish trend as we have a lower high here. Momentum is getting a red dot as our VWAP slightly in the bearish territory, but if we get some green candles here, that could reverse and we could start a bit of a bullish trend and we could try to break this resistance area. Over on graph for the daily, kind of within this pattern, we did kind of get our breakout early, so I'm not going to quite delete this pattern yet because we still have some bullish possibilities in the market, but just be warned that it did play out already. Stochastic is pushing out, RSI is weakening, Our money flow is rejecting our neutral, and our momentum is in the bearish territory, but it wants to get a curl up as our VWAP is pushing to the bullish side. Over on the 4-hour, you can see we're coming down and testing our support, so if we do manage to confirm and push forward from here and confirm it as support, we could see continued price action up. However, if we break back down into our pattern from here, we're likely going to fall lower. Our stochastic is falling, RSI is falling, money flow is rounding out, our VWAP is in the bearish territory, and our momentum is in a bit of a bearish trend, so overall we have more bearish indicators than bullish, but just watch this support. If we get a green candle off it, we could continue forward pretty decently. We have a manipulation X and an inverted hammer candle that want to bring us down, so watch if we get a red candle next. If we don't, then we could continue forward. Stochastic is pushing out. If you don't know what that hammer candle is, smash that like, hit the subscribe, and join us in that Discord. Our money flow overall is sliding in the bearish territory. Our VWAP is pushing up toward that neutral, but it's not quite getting through. We'll have to watch if it can start somewhat of a bullish trend, but currently we're in a bearish trend as we're getting lower highs with lower lows, so I would be weary. Over on the 1-hour, our RSI is overall starting to sell off, stochastic is pushing out, and the money flow is in a bearish trend. It did break bullish, but it rejected to the bearish side. Our VWAP didn't manage to maintain bullish action either, fell to the bearish side, and is maintaining bearish action. If our VWAP continues down from here and our money flow maintains bearish trajectory, then we will likely see lower price action from here. However, if our VWAP rolls up, our money flow kind of tapers off, we may be able to start pushing forward from here and see some higher price action. Over on Anchor for the daily, we are going to bounce off our support. We do have a little bit of a round, not quite like Bitcoin though. Stochastic's pushing out, RSI's pushing up, our momentum's pushing higher with a green dot, and our VWAP's in the bullish territory. So that is good for our momentum, but it's not very strong yet. Money flow did break to the bullish side somewhat. I would watch very close. If this money flow rounds away, we could see bearish action from here. Over on the 4-hour, we have a reversal arrow followed by a green dot that wanted to bring us up, but we ultimately fell down. Stochastic is pushing out, our RSI wants to head up, momentum is rounding out with a red dot that is bringing us down because our VWAP is in the bearish territory. Watch if that VWAP crosses through and gains bullish strength. If that does happen, we could see a little bit of a bullish trend start. Money flow is heading back toward that neutral and could break through, but we are getting overall higher highs. We do look like we want to maintain this 5F support, so if we do manage to maintain this as our support zone, we could continue forward, test the top of this flag, and see continued price action up, but just be aware of all the bearish patterns we have. That's the reason I'm not getting too confident about a push up, because we're kind of in a goofy spot. Over on Anchor, we have a little bit of a gap up for today, so we're continuing with these gaps. Stochastic's pushing down, but it does want to get a bullish push up. Our RSI wants to move up. Our momentum's trying to get a green dot as our VWAP's peaking into the bullish territory, so if that can get a new high past the 6 zone, that would be positive for us. However, if we get rejected by the 6 zone, we are likely going to see another trend to the downside. Over on the 1-hour, we are pushing up, but we have these gaps, so if we stretch this out, we have a little bit of a gap under us, another gap down here, we have a gap down here, so we have gaps all over the place. I believe we had a gap up to fill, so we are still moving toward that gap up at 1986, and around this 1998 or 2 cent zone, so we do have that as about probably our maximum possibility for us, not financial advice, but if we hit either one of those zones, we could see them start to retrace a bit, so I would keep that in mind. But they are still there for us to fill, and since they are a little older, they could fill sooner than some of these lower gaps, but we also do have a older lower gap back here, so keep that in mind as well. Stochastic's running up, VWAP is maintaining bullish strength, our money flow is overall selling out, and our momentum wants to push forward. So we are doing somewhat okay, but just keep things in mind. We do have some gaps, and those are about 80% possibilities. So I wouldn't tread on them lightly. We are making a pretty decent push past our point of control. We did push past our resistance. We tried to break the other resistance I told you we could push forward, and we didn't really manage to maintain it. We are kind of locking at this 52-cent zone, so that could act as a zone we reject from, as that was another zone we struggled to get past. Stochastic is heading up, RSI is heading up, momentum is pushing forward, and our VWAP's got some really good momentum going. Our money flow is in the bearish territory still, kind of hanging up at this -11, so if it rejects here, we could see a bit of a sell-off. We have a reversal arrow here that suggests we want this trend to reverse, and we could try to push forward. We've got quite a few of them, but they haven't really done much. Over on the 4-hour, we have this candle pattern that's a bit of a topping pattern. If you're not familiar with it, join that Discord. Stochastic is falling, RSI is falling, also smash that like while you're at it. Our VWAP is getting lower highs and trending that neutral, and our momentum is pushing forward, but with the VWAP about to break bearish, we could see a red dot form here. And with the way the stochastic and RSI look, we could see a bit of a sell-off, so this pattern may be telling us we could break our support. Not financial advice. Our stochastic is pushing out, RSI is pushing down, momentum is rolling away with a double red dot. Our VWAP has broken into the bearish territory pretty strongly with a lower low and a lower high, so we have started a bearish trend. Our money flow is still trying to say we're bullish, but we're not getting past this 13 zone with any strength. If we don't get past this, it's likely we could just round away and fizzle out. Over on the 1 hour, we have a manipulation X here that wants to bring us down. RSI is overall sliding, stochastic sliding. Momentum is rounding away. Our VWAP is pushing down. We have a lower low. We don't have any newer highs, so we are in a bit of a downtrend currently. We did try to come up for some highs, so these could be lower highs technically, so that could create your downtrend. Our stochastic is pushing down, RSI is pushing out, and momentum is pushing away. So this does look like some sort of goofy top that could push us lower. I would bear that in mind. Finally for tonight, we have algo. We are pushing our value area low here, not our point of control, linking at XRP, and our resistance, so very similar to XRP. RSI is trying to push up, stochastic wants to get a bullish cross. Our momentum is pushing forward with a green dot as our VWAP has maintained some bullish strength here. If our VWAP can push forward, that will be good for us, but if the VWAP starts to taper off, we will see lower price action. Our money flow is struggling to get past this 8 zone, or a little high, about 7-8 zone. So if we can't get past this zone with strength, we're likely going to start to see a bit of a pull away from here. Over on the 4 hour, we did kind of bounce off our support. We are doing pretty decent, so we will need a green candle here to continue to push us up. If we get a red candle that sets in next, that could drop us down and break the support. Our stochastic is overall arching out, so even though price is going up, stochastic is losing strength, which is a bit of a bearish divergence there. RSI is heading out, momentum's rolling away, and our VWAP's getting lower highs, so watch out for that as it's in a bearish trend. Our money flow is in the bullish territory, but that's in a bearish trend as well, as it's getting lower highs and coming back down to test a lower low. If the VWAP and the money flow break bearish here, it is likely we will see a pretty decent flush to the downside, so keep that in mind and watch out for that. Over on the 2 hour, we have a double red dot here that wants to drop us down. RSI is heading out, stochastic's rounding away, our VWAP is hitting that neutral and wants to drop into the bearish territory, so watch if it carries any lower lows. If it does, that would start a bearish trend as we have a lower high here. Money flow is in a bit of a bearish trend with lower highs. We are coming up to try and test this neutral, so if the money flow can break bullish, that could push us forward, but that would need the VWAP to go with it. Over on the 1 hour, we have bearish divergence on our momentum. Stochastic has a bearish divergence, and our RSI is overall heading out. VWAP is pushing into the bearish territory and pushing down. If we keep going down, we could start a lower low, which could start a bearish trend. Our momentum is pushing out, has that double red dot as well as that bearish divergence. Stochastic's pushing out. RSI is holding ground decent, but it could start to push lower if the stochastic doesn't gain strength. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a wonderful night.